Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. When a woman lives alone with no boyfriend, no situationship, no late night texts, no drama, some folks start asking questions. She must be lonely. She can't keep a man. What's wrong with her? Well, let me straighten that out today. A woman who chooses to live alone without a boyfriend, she ain't broken. She ain't bitter. She sure ain't bored. She's focused. People throw the word independent around like it's just a buzzword, but let me break it down for you. When a woman is truly independent, I'm talking about the kind of independence where she lives alone, handles her business, and chooses to live without boyfriends just to avoid unnecessary noise. That's not loneliness. That's power. But you know what the world does? It confuses solitude with sadness. They see a woman walking into a restaurant by herself, holding her head up high, ordering her meal, enjoying her time, and they whisper, poor thing, she's all alone. They see her with no ring on her finger, no man pulling up to pick her up, and they assume something's wrong. Let me tell you something right now. There is nothing wrong with a woman who stands on her own 2 feet. There is nothing lacking in a woman who chooses herself every single day, because that kind of independence, that is a choice. That is a mindset. That is not a woman who got left behind. That's a woman who decided to lead her own life, not follow someone else's mess. See, people are uncomfortable with a woman they can't define by a relationship. Society gets all shaken up when they can't put a label on her like so-and-so's girlfriend or his wife. But let me ask you this. Why does a woman need to have a man beside her to be validated? Why do people act like a woman living alone is some sort of tragedy? No, that woman is free. She has her own keys, her own rules, her own vibe. She wakes up when she wants, sleeps when she wants, decorates her place the way she likes, and doesn't have to explain herself to nobody. She isn't lonely. She's liberated. That woman made a decision. She said, if I can't find a relationship that adds to my peace, I'll keep my peace. She said, if loving someone else means losing myself, then I'd rather stay whole. That ain't weakness. That ain't sadness. That's strength. That's courage. And don't think it's because she can't get a man. That's the funniest part. She could have 10 dudes lined up with just one text. But it's a thing. She doesn't need just any man. She needs the right one. The one who respects her boundaries, the one who knows how to communicate like an adult, the one who's not intimidated by her strength, her mind, or her ambition. She's not holding out for perfection. She just refuses to invite chaos into her life. She doesn't chase love. She attracts it by being exactly who she is. Unapologetically. And if love comes, it comes. But until then, she ain't losing sleep over it, because she knows that what she's building, her career, her peace of mind, her dreams, is too valuable to be distracted by somebody who just wants temporary attention. Now, let me tell you, independence don't mean she never gets lonely. Everybody feels that sometimes. But the difference is, she doesn't let that loneliness lower her standards. She doesn't go running into the arms of the wrong one just to fill the silence. She faces it, she grows through it, and when she does get into a relationship one day, it's not going to be out of desperation. It'll be out of desire, out of choice, out of shared respect. That's the beauty of real independence. It teaches you how to love yourself so completely that you don't accept halfway love from anyone else. It teaches you that your own company is not a curse, is a privilege. You get to know your thoughts, your habits, your dreams, your flaws, and you get to work on yourself. Uninterrupted. People forget this part. It takes strength to be alone. It takes discipline to stay away from distractions. It takes self-awareness to realize that your time and energy are sacred. And when a woman masters that, she becomes magnetic. Not because she's waiting to be saved, but because she already saved herself. So don't confuse independence with isolation. Don't confuse solitude with sadness. A woman who lives alone and still smiles, still grows, still thrives, she's not lonely. She's just too powerful to waste her life proving it to the wrong people. I want you to listen carefully because this is something every woman, especially those living alone, needs to understand. A woman doesn't need validation to be whole. You see, in this world, people are quick to measure a woman's worth based on who she's with. If she's single, they think there's something missing, something she hasn't figured out. But let me tell you, she's figured it out. She's figured out that her worth doesn't come from someone else's opinion, approval, or affection. It comes from her own self-understanding, her own self-respect, and her own self-love. A woman who doesn't rely on validation from a partner or from society standards is a woman who understands that her whole, full, and complete. She doesn't need anyone to fill a space inside her because that space was never empty in the first place. Think about it. When a woman knows her worth, she doesn't allow the world to tell her what she should feel, what she should look like, or who she should be with. She's not waiting for someone else to complete her because she's already complete. That's why she doesn't need the constant affirmation or attention that others may seek. She is her own biggest fan. Her confidence isn't built on being seen or heard by others. It's built on knowing who she is, being comfortable with herself, and understanding her purpose in life. You can't shake her confidence because it doesn't come from external sources. It comes from within. Now, I'll tell you something else. People will try to make a woman feel like something's wrong because she's not seeking a relationship at every turn. They might say, you're too independent, or why don't you let someone in? But here's the thing. She knows she's worthy whether or not someone else sees it. Her value is not up for negotiation. If someone can't see her worth, that's their loss, not hers. And it doesn't matter if she's dating or not. She doesn't need a boyfriend to feel seen, to feel valuable, or to feel whole. She is her own source of validation. And here's where the next point comes in. Solitude builds strength, clarity, and standards. You can't understand your true worth if you're constantly surrounded by noise, whether it's other people's opinions, distractions, or expectations. When a woman lives alone, she has time, she has space. She has the opportunity to sit with herself, reflect, and become clearer about what she wants out of life and relationships. This solitude allows her to strengthen her connection with herself. She knows what she likes, what she dislikes, what she can tolerate, and what she absolutely cannot. And more importantly, she builds standards. She has no room for nonsense, no room for people who don't respect her time, her boundaries, or her values. People will come into your life and they'll try to change things, shift the vibe, or make you feel like you should settle for less than you deserve. But a woman who has spent time on her own knows exactly what she's willing to accept and what she won't. Her standards aren't just about checking boxes. They're about what she will allow into her life that respects her peace, her growth, and her future. Solitude makes a woman strong enough to say no when she needs to and to walk away from situations that don't serve her. Now, some people will try to say, but don't you get lonely? Sure, she gets lonely. Everybody does at some point, but loneliness doesn't scare her. Loneliness doesn't push her into the arms of the wrong person just to fill a void. She knows that her peace, her clarity, and her growth are far more valuable than settling for a relationship that might not align with her future. And the longer she stays in solitude, the stronger her clarity becomes. She realizes that relationships should add to her life, not complicate it. And when the right person comes along, she's not desperate for company. She's looking for partnership. She's looking for someone who matches her vibe, her ambitions, and her energy. You see, solitude allows her to strengthen her inner core. It gives her time to listen to her thoughts, her feelings, and her intuition. That's where she builds the foundation for her standards. It's from this place of self-understanding that she can make better choices, not just in relationships, but in every aspect of her life. She can pursue the career she wants without feeling the pressure of someone else's expectations. She can explore her passions and her hobbies without needing someone to validate them. She can live her life to the fullest on her terms because she knows exactly who she is and what she wants. And that strength is not just emotional strength, it's mental and spiritual strength too. Solitude is not about being afraid to be alone. It's about embracing the opportunity to grow, to evolve, and to be clear about what your life should look like. When a woman builds herself up this way, she doesn't just survive, she thrives. She becomes unstoppable. And nothing, not loneliness, not societal pressures, not anyone's opinions, nothing can take that power away from her. There's a misconception out there that living alone somehow means there's something missing from your life. Society, for some reason, equates being single with being incomplete. But let me make one thing clear. Living alone is not a lack. It's a choice for peace. It's a conscious decision to choose serenity over chaos, calm over noise, and independence over dependence. A woman who lives alone is not defined by what's absent from her life. She's defined by what she's created for herself. She's created space, literal and figurative, to breathe, to reflect, and to grow. That space is sacred. She's not lonely. She's cultivating peace in her own environment. You see, living alone gives a woman the opportunity to thrive without interference. No one is dictating the rhythm of her day. No one's opinions are drowning out her own inner voice. She's in control of her own schedule, her own decisions, and her own life. That's not a lack, it's freedom. It's the freedom to be who you are without compromise, to make choices that align with your values and not with someone else's expectations. She can sit in her own thoughts, find clarity, and realize her worth without the noise of someone else's insecurities or demands. When a woman lives alone, she's creating an environment where peace can flourish. And trust me, peace is priceless. Now, this next point is one that needs to be shouted from the rooftops. Self-worth is not defined by relationship status. It doesn't matter if you're single, dating, or married. Your value isn't based on your relationship status. Your worth is inherent. It's tied to who you are, your character, your integrity, your goals, and the love you give to yourself. It's a tragedy when people think their worth is determined by whether or not they're in a relationship. You know why? Because that means your value is tied to external factors. What someone else thinks of you, how someone else treats you. That's dangerous, because if that person doesn't show you respect, if that relationship doesn't honor your needs, then you're left feeling less than, like you don't measure up. But let me tell you, you always measure up. Whether or not you're with someone doesn't change that. A woman who lives alone knows that her value is constant, unshakable, and unwavering. She doesn't need someone to make her feel whole or valuable. She knows she is whole. She knows she's valuable. She doesn't need a relationship to define her. She defines herself. That kind of strength comes from within and is built over time. A woman who knows her worth walks through the world with her head held high because she doesn't seek approval from anyone. She knows her value and she's not going to let anyone take that away from her. She's not going to settle for a relationship where she feels small, overlooked, or disrespected. She knows that being in the wrong relationship is worse than being single. And because of that, she never compromises on her standards. Which leads me to this next point. Don't settle. Know your value and protect your space. Too many people, especially women, settle for relationships that don't honor their worth simply because they're afraid of being alone. They're told that they should be in a relationship, that they should be with someone to complete them. But here's the thing. You don't need to complete anyone, and no one needs to complete you. You're already complete. You're already whole. The right relationship should add to your life, not fill a gap. Not erase a loneliness, not act as a distraction from what's truly important. If someone doesn't bring value to your life, if they don't support your growth, your dreams, or your peace, then what's the point? A woman who understands her value doesn't waste time with relationships that drain her energy, that make her feel like she has to prove herself, or that make her feel like she's not good enough. She knows that her time is precious. She knows that her energy is too important to be spent on someone who doesn't appreciate her. She's not afraid of being alone because she's learned that her peace is worth more than someone who can't match her energy. And that's powerful. When you know your worth, you protect your space fiercely. You protect your peace, your energy, and your heart. You don't allow people in who are going to bring chaos, negativity, or drama into your life. You set boundaries and you keep them. If you're a woman who's living alone and maybe people are asking you why you don't have a boyfriend, remind them that your peace is your priority. You're not missing anything. What's missing are people who understand that peace is the foundation of happiness. You're not afraid of being alone because you understand that solitude is the breeding ground for growth, for clarity, and for strength. You are not settling for less than you deserve, and you never will. Protecting your space, your energy, and your peace is non-negotiable. And when the right person does come along, they'll respect that. They'll understand that you built your life in a way that values your own growth, and they'll add to it, never take away from it. When a woman lives alone, some people might look at her with a sense of pity or wonder if she's missing something. But let me tell you, that woman is not lacking. She's thriving. Independence is power, not loneliness. She's got the freedom to live life on her terms, and that's a strength most people don't fully understand. People seem to think that if you're not coupled up, you're somehow incomplete. But the reality is, independence is the most liberating thing a woman can experience. When you live alone, you're not at the mercy of anyone's mood, schedule, or behavior. You can make decisions without compromising your values. You can build a life that works for you, not one that's shaped by someone else's expectations or desires. Independence doesn't mean you're isolated or lonely. It means you are in full control of your world. What the world misses is that independence brings strength. A woman who can live alone, take care of herself, manage her responsibilities, and build her future without constantly relying on someone else is someone who knows her worth. It's empowering to know you're not bound by anyone's opinion or dictated by anyone else's actions. Independence creates space for self-discovery, for growth, and for creating a life that aligns with your deepest desires. And that's power. It means you don't need to be in a relationship to feel validated or to feel whole. You know exactly who you are, and that makes you untouchable. And then there's this idea of validation. A woman doesn't need validation to be whole. Too often we see women searching for external approval, looking for someone else to tell them they're beautiful, smart, worthy, or loved. But here's the truth. No one can define your worth except for you. A woman who understands her value doesn't wait for a partner, a friend, or even society to validate her. She knows that her worth is intrinsic and unshakable. Her beauty isn't tied to the compliments she receives. Her strength isn't reliant on anyone's praise. She doesn't need to be in a relationship to feel fulfilled. She's already full. She doesn't wait for someone to tell her she's good enough. She knows she is. This kind of mindset is freeing. When a woman no longer seeks validation, she becomes untouchable. No one can shake her confidence or make her doubt herself. She doesn't need a man to tell her she's beautiful because she already knows it. She doesn't need someone to tell her she's capable because she has proven it time and time again. She is her own biggest fan, and that confidence shines from the inside out. It's that kind of internal validation that gives her the power to set boundaries, make tough decisions, and walk away from situations that no longer serve her. She doesn't need anyone's approval to live her best life. Now let's talk about solitude. A woman who lives alone gets the chance to really get to know herself. And that's an opportunity that many people never get. Solitude builds strength, clarity, and standards. When you have time alone, you get to sit with your thoughts, you get to hear your own voice, and make decisions based on your own desires, not what others want from you. And that's powerful. It means you can shape your life in a way that aligns with your true self without the distractions of what other people think or need. Being alone doesn't mean you're weak or that you can't handle a relationship. It means you've chosen to create a life that reflects your own needs and desires. Solitude helps you build clarity. You start to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you truly want in a partner. You learn to trust your intuition. You set your own standards, and those standards are the key to protecting your peace and happiness. You no longer settle for relationships that are shallow or based on fleeting moments. Instead, you demand respect, depth, and authenticity from those who come into your life. Solitude helps you realize what you're willing to accept and what you won't tolerate. And that's crucial for maintaining your peace. There's a common misconception that living alone means something is missing. But I want you to know that living alone is not a lack, it's a choice for peace. When a woman chooses to live on her own, she's making a conscious decision to protect her peace and her space. She's creating an environment where she can focus on herself without interference. She doesn't have to answer to anyone's needs or deal with anyone's drama. She has the freedom to live in alignment with her own goals and desires. And that peace, that freedom is priceless. She is not empty or lonely. She is centered. She is whole. And she is content in her own company. Living alone is a conscious choice to prioritize inner peace and personal growth over the noise and distractions of the outside world. Living alone allows a woman to take control of her life in a way that few people can truly understand. It's not a sign of weakness or desperation. It's a statement of strength and self-respect. She's not afraid of being alone. She's afraid of losing herself in a relationship that doesn't serve her. She's not lonely. She's in a place of peace. She has the space to build the life she wants and to wait for the right partner who will complement, not complete her. And that makes her one of the most powerful forces on the planet. Self-worth is one of the most important aspects of a person's life, yet it's often misunderstood and misdirected. Self-worth is not defined by relationship status. Society often teaches us that we are somehow incomplete unless we are in a relationship. Women in particular are pressured to find love, to be in a partnership, and to meet the expectations set by others. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Your worth is not measured by your relationship status. Whether you're single, married, dating, or divorced, your value doesn't change. You are worthy, whole, and powerful regardless of your relationship status. So many women struggle with the idea that they are less than because they don't have a partner, and that's a tragedy. No one should be defined by the company they keep, and certainly not by whether or not they have a significant other. Your worth is built on who you are as an individual, the strength of your character, the depth of your kindness, the passion you pour into your work, your relationships with friends and family, and the respect you give yourself. A woman who understands her value doesn't need to rely on a relationship to feel whole. She's already whole. She knows her worth doesn't depend on someone else validating her. When she's single, she's not lonely. She's just focused on herself, her growth, and her purpose. A woman who has a deep understanding of her worth knows that she deserves more than a relationship that just looks good on paper. She won't settle for someone who only adds chaos to her life or makes her question her value. She understands that love should enhance her life, not complete it. She doesn't need someone else to fill a gap or offer her the love she lacks because she is already complete. Relationships should be about companionship, mutual respect, and shared goals, not about fixing something broken inside. A woman who has healthy self-worth knows that she will never settle for anything less than a relationship that supports her growth, her peace, and her happiness. Now let's talk about the importance of boundaries. Don't settle, know your value, and protect your space. This is something that every woman, especially those who choose to live alone, needs to understand. When you know your worth, You no longer accept the bare minimum from people. You set standards that honor your time, your energy, and your well-being. You don't compromise who you are to fit into someone else's world. Instead, you create a life that is in alignment with your needs and desires. Too many people, particularly women, settle for relationships that aren't healthy or fulfilling simply because they fear being alone. They are afraid of being judged or feeling inadequate because they aren't in a relationship. But here's the hard truth. Settling for less than what you deserve only hurts you in the long run. You can't make up for a lack of respect, trust, or love with the simple presence of someone else. Being with someone who doesn't align with your values, who doesn't appreciate your worth, or who doesn't bring peace into your life is far worse than being alone. Protecting your space is about more than just physical boundaries. It's about emotional and mental boundaries as well. When you protect your space, you're making a commitment to yourself to only allow those who respect you, value you, and add to your life to enter. You stop apologizing for having high standards. You stop feeling guilty for cutting people out who drain your energy, who are toxic, or who refuse to grow with you. You no longer settle for anything less than what you deserve. A woman who knows her value and protects her space doesn't fear being alone. She understands that solitude is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of self-respect. She knows that time spent alone is a chance to recharge, to heal, and to become stronger. It's not a place of loneliness, but a place of opportunity. When she's not bogged down by people who aren't serving her highest good, she's free to focus on her growth, her ambitions, and the things that bring her joy. Protecting your space is not selfish, it's necessary for your peace of mind and emotional well-being. And the beauty of this is, once you learn to protect your space and honor your boundaries, you create an environment where the right people will naturally gravitate towards you. The right partner will be attracted to your energy, your confidence, and your strength. And when that person arrives, they won't just add to your life, they'll complement it, enhancing the peace, the happiness, and the purpose you've already built for yourself. You'll know exactly what you need from them, and they'll know exactly what you expect from the relationship. This is what makes a healthy, thriving relationship possible. Not settling for less, not compromising your values, and not allowing anything or anyone to disrupt your peace. A woman who lives alone, who knows her worth, and who refuses to settle for anything less than she deserves becomes an incredibly powerful force. She knows how to love herself fully, how to protect her peace, and how to stay true to her path. She understands that being alone doesn't mean she's incomplete. It means she's choosing herself first. And that's the ultimate form of self-love. And when she does eventually invite someone into her life, it will be because they add value, not because she needs them to feel whole. She's already whole. It's often said that we accept the love we think we deserve, but I want to flip that idea around. We accept the life we think we deserve. And that includes the relationships we allow to shape us. Many women, especially those who are living alone, have learned the hard way that settling for less than you deserve only leads to heartache and disappointment. If you don't know your value, if you don't understand how much you're worth, you can find yourself in situations that drain your energy, disrupt your peace, and leave you questioning who you really are. That's why it's so important to never settle for anything less than what you truly deserve. A woman who knows her value doesn't waste time with relationships that leave her feeling depleted or unappreciated. She doesn't allow anyone to come into her life who doesn't match her energy or contribute to her growth. This doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family dynamics, and work environments too. When you understand your worth, you become unapologetic about what you accept in your life. You set boundaries and standards that honor who you are and what you bring to the table. You realize that settling for anything less than your best will only hold you back from the life you're meant to live. When you protect your space, you're not just making sure your home is a sanctuary, it's about ensuring that your emotional and mental well-being is safeguarded as well. Your time, energy, and peace of mind are precious, and a woman who knows her worth doesn't squander those things on people or situations that don't serve her highest good. She doesn't feel the need to justify her boundaries. They are non-negotiable because she understands that when you protect your space, you protect your future. Many women feel pressure to settle because society often tells them they should be in a relationship or that they should have a partner to feel complete. But the truth is, you are already complete. A woman who lives alone, who enjoys her own company, and who has built a life that reflects her values is a woman who has come into her own power. She's not afraid of being alone because she knows that her peace is worth more than a relationship that doesn't honor her. She's learned that solitude is not loneliness, it's freedom. Freedom to grow, to focus on her dreams, and to create a life that is fully hers. For women who choose to live alone or who have experienced the pain of settling for less in the past, it's a powerful reminder that you don't need a relationship to feel fulfilled. When you've spent time investing in yourself, when you've nurtured your passions, your ambitions, and your sense of self, you realize that being in a relationship should never come at the expense of your inner peace. If someone comes into your life, they should add value, not diminish it. Too often, women feel like they need to be in a relationship to be validated by the world, but true validation comes from within. It's about knowing who you are, knowing your worth, and never compromising that to meet the expectations of others. The beauty of living alone is that it allows for space to understand yourself better, space to grow, and space to reflect on the kind of person you want in your life. Solitude builds strength, clarity, and standards. When you're alone, you get the chance to check in with yourself and ask the important questions. Am I happy? Am I growing? Is this relationship serving me or is it holding me back? These are the types of reflections that come with solitude. They don't happen when you're constantly distracted or constantly seeking the approval of others. And from that clarity, you start to develop your standards. You begin to recognize what you deserve in a relationship, in friendships, and in your career. You develop an understanding of what feels right for you and what doesn't. And from there, you become fearless in saying no to things that don't align with your vision for your life. You protect your space because you understand that your energy is finite. You can't waste it on people, situations, or relationships that don't respect your boundaries, your time, or your peace of mind. When you know your worth, you don't fear being alone. You fear letting the wrong people into your life and disturbing the peace you've worked so hard to build. Living alone isn't about needing someone to complete you. It's about having the space to be your full self. You are not incomplete. You are whole, strong, and worthy of all the love and respect the world can offer. But that love has to start with you. When a woman lives alone, she often finds herself rediscovering the parts of herself that may have been buried or forgotten. She realizes that she doesn't need anyone to make her feel important or valued. She is already valuable. And with that realization comes the power to choose only the relationships and opportunities that support and elevate her. She will never settle for less because she knows she deserves the best. A woman who knows her value doesn't need someone to validate her. She doesn't need a relationship to make her feel worthy or important. She is already worthy. She knows that true strength comes from within and that her life is hers to create. She will protect her space and her peace at all costs, and she will wait for the right partner, the right friendships, and the right opportunities to come into her life, ones that will add to her happiness, not take away from it. And when that partner does come, they won't be there to complete her. They'll be there to enhance the life she's already built. This section incorporates all of the key notes while emphasizing the importance of self-worth and protecting your space. Let me know if you need further adjustments or have other requests.